Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Lai. I actually work at Citrus Australia. Wasn't meant to be speaking today, but Jean-Noir has had a few technical issues, so bear with me. It's always a little bit difficult when you're presenting someone else's presentation. This is just a short one. I'm not going to be presenting any research results in this presentation. I guess what this is we want to give everyone a heads up about a new, relatively new, quite large research project that was started last year. We're about 12 months in. It's an ACR project, so funded by the Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research, with also some funding from horticultural levies in Australia. And we have quite a large number of people involved in this particular project, which is more like a program with several projects sitting underneath. So the project partners are some Australian partners. So New South Wales DPI, Department of Primary Industries, is the lead organisation. Jean-Noir Mo is the project lead. Citrus Australia, where I'm from, is also a project partner. So that makes up the Australian team. We also have colleagues in Indonesia at UGM. We have one of the speakers here today. Siti is actually the lead of the UGM group over there, and she'll be speaking a little bit more about the project today, I believe. And we also have colleagues in China from the Citrus Research Institute of China. So it's a multinational project. There are two main objectives of the project. The first one is to look at the current situation of Huanglongbing in Indonesia and citrus orchards in Indonesia, and look at how it's currently managed and prevalence, and undertake a range of research projects looking at how HLB can be more effectively managed in Indonesian orchards to maximise economic returns for citrus growers over there. There's a lot of knowledge sharing occurring within the program, so there is definitely a lot of benefits that we are finding for the Australian team, which will in turn benefit the Australian citrus industry. So in Australia, we don't have Huanglongbing and we don't have exotic citrus psyllids, thankfully. As Luke mentioned earlier, we're doing quite a lot of surveillance for early detection work, so that if we do find the psyllids or Huanglongbing, we'll try to eradicate it. And if that's not possible, we'll move to management, and anything that can help us prepare for effective management is of use to us at this stage. So the other objective of the project is to improve the preparedness for the Australian citrus industry for future incursions of the disease, and also of the psyllid vectors as well. So here's the Australian team. We have a mixture of skills within the Australian team. You might see some familiar faces. Most personnel on the team have been working on citrus for some time. Dr. Tahir Kershid is leading on the rootstock, HLB-tolerant rootstock work. Nerida Donovan is online at the moment. She is working on the plant pathology aspects of the program. I'm a biosecurity officer with Citrus Australia, so I'm helping Stephen Fallavine with the extension and communication component of the program. Mark Stevens is an entomologist with New South Wales DPI, as is Jean-Noir, and they'll be working on repellents of ACP and trapping of ACP. So as I said, it's more like a program of works. We're a year in, we have another 4 or so years to go. So what we're hoping is, as we move along through this research and each of these projects, we'll have some interesting research findings that we can share with all of you, not just among the program partners. So we think that there'll probably be some good results to come out of this program that we can share in a few years' time. So the project or program is focused around 6 main areas, which I'll just briefly go through at the moment. So the first area is looking at tolerant rootstocks. There's obviously been a lot of citrus breeding around the world, looking for rootstocks, varietals that are tolerant to HLB, and the USDA have released a few HLB tolerant citrus rootstocks and sent those seeds over to Australia. We recently took seeds across to Indonesia for planting, and the idea will be to look at the yield performance of those rootstocks in both Indonesia and in Australia. So we're also looking at how economic returns can be, in particular at this point in time, maximised for Indonesian citrus growers. So at the moment, in certain HLB affected regions, trees need to be pulled out sometimes after 15 years of growth. So we're looking at high density plantings, which mature earlier and have higher per hectare yields, to look at how those economic returns can be maximised even if the trees do have to come out early. The Australian team visited the Indonesian team in February of this year, and we were able to see a few of those high density planting field trials that are already planted and underway, which was great to see. A part of the program will be looking at Asian citrus psyllid repellents. So there have been a number of chemicals reported in the literature and other scientific literature and other that describe certain chemicals as being repellent to ACP. So we'll be looking at a variety of potential repellents in this program, including mineral oils, kaolin clay, and certain plant volatiles. Looking at repellents in particular, as they're less toxic than insecticides, and of course we won't be running into any insecticide resistance issues through the use of repellents. So part of the work that I'm involved in with the Zhanhua is Asian citrus psyllid trapping. The reason why the Australian citrus industry is particularly interested in this component is we undertake a lot of trapping every year throughout Australia for early detection purposes. So we send sticky traps around the country, as Luke was saying. Yellow or yellow-green sticky traps are commonly used to trap for Asian citrus psyllid. Part of the problem is, in particular, if you're doing early detection surveillance, you end up getting psyllids that are squashed on the sticky cards. It can be hard to morphologically ID them once they're on the sticky traps, and the traps themselves can get covered in a lot of bycatch. So we are looking at how well sticky cards catch Asian citrus psyllid, but we're also looking at a new type of trap that you can see here in the picture. It's a cylindrical trap. We had the plans for this trap sent over to us through researchers in Florida who have developed this trap. It has been shown to reduce the bycatch significantly, which means you end up with a sample of Asian citrus psyllid with less of other specimens in there, so a much cleaner catch. So we 3D printed these traps and we're testing them out in the field. We're also looking at intercropping systems, which is widely used in citrus orchards in Indonesia. So we'll be comparing different intercropping systems, looking at yield, cost, revenue, and HLB and ACP infestation levels to look at which intercropping systems work best. And there's an extension component. So we'll be running a technical workshop every year in Indonesia for Indonesian extension personnel and researchers over there, where we bring experts together to talk about HLB and share what they know, based on the most best and recent research at the time. And we'll also be doing workshops in Australia and developing articles and other extension material throughout the program. So that's it, Alison. So I'm happy to take questions, or questions could be directed at Zhanhua, but I'll be online for the rest of the work.